Old means coming from an earlier time, dating from the past, relating to history. After astronauts made spaceflights, we finally learned what our world really looks like. But historians saw the world from a different point of view. The Mappa Mundi is the oldest map of the world. It shows a flat circle with one religious centre. It is Jerusalem, the holy city for Christians, Jews and Muslims. The map showed pictures of many mysterious unknown creatures from the world of mythology. It also showed routes the people were travelling to get to Crete and the Tower of Babel. At that time, people were making many pilgrimages to Jerusalem. These pilgrimages were very important in the medieval world, and the travellers used this map to find their way. Did you know that it took mankind another 3 centuries before they made the first realistic map? Today, no one can imagine a world without computers, but how long have we had computers? During World War II, German communications depended on secret Enigma codes created by machines. Human code breakers were trying to understand the secret codes from the Germans, but they just weren't quick enough to break them. It was important to understand the message quickly, so scientists invented Colossus, the oldest computing machine to do this job. This machine had an amazing 2,500 valves and filled several rooms.
Manchester University, where anyone who urgently wishes to know...
Scientists were working on developing computers, but it wasn't until 1948 that they created the first electronic computer. The Mark I is the oldest computer that used programs. But did you know the oldest of all computers is a mechanical computing machine designed by Thomas Babbage? This is the Pantheon in Rome. It's the oldest building in the world, and people are still using it. Its dome is a good example of very successful ancient engineering. Even today, we're not sure how engineers built it. The Pantheon was built in 27 BC. People used it as a temple to pray to ancient gods. The Pantheon became a Christian church 500 years later. The Pantheon played an important role in Roman city life in the past, and this building is still a place for Christians to pray to God. Many famous Italians were buried in the Pantheon. People have used this building for nearly 2,000 years. Sailing was very dangerous in the 1700s. Sailors were using the sun and stars to find their way. This was a very difficult method because the ship was always moving from side to side. This method only worked if you knew the exact time of day that you measured the distance from the sun and stars. The clocks in the 1700s weren't reliable because the waves of the sea affected them. The clockmaker, John Harrison, solved the problem. The British government had a competition for the best clock design. He took part in this competition because the winner would get $32,000. But his clock designs were so strange and different that nobody trusted them. Later, King George III insisted they should test Harrison's designs. In 1759, they locked Harrison's newest clock in a box and took a sea voyage from Portsmouth to Barbados to test it. They sailed for 46 days, and then they opened the box. The clock was keeping perfect time, and they were surprised. Harrison won his prize. 40 years after he invented the clock, sailors were still using his clocks on ships, and the clocks were always showing the correct time.